movie, and I just got done watching 2007's Saw 4, starring Lyric Bent, Scott Patterson, Costas Mandylor, Tobin Bell, Louis Ferreira and Betsy Russell. This one I've only seen once before when I originally got it on DVD. I think this was a present from my sister, I could be wrong. Yeah, so this continues, you know, the previous three movies story, with not as much callbacks though. There's a little bit, I mean, it helps. I mean, Lyric Bent's Lieutenant Rigg turned up in Saw 2 and Saw 3. And of course, he's mainly here to then go looking for Donnie Wahlberg's Eric Matthews, sorry. And they have a throwaway bit where they find Dina Meyer's Kerry, who was killed in the last movie quite just randomly, just as a clean-up job. And at the end we catch up with Jeff, who of course killed Jigsaw, finished him off. But yeah, this movie, it blows my mind that this is only an hour and a half long, because it is stuffed, and I mean overly stuffed, because yes, it makes sense to have this story following Rigg as he's trying to supposedly either learn a lesson and maybe be being recruited in some way, which is what they get these FBI agents come in, Scott Patterson's Special Agent Strom, and another FBI agent who I don't remember the name of. I don't know who played her, but they come in and they're investigating, and they're trying to chase down Rigg because they're pretty sure he is involved as an apprentice of Jigsaw. But you're following him as he's Jigsaw's lesson is that Rigg needs to learn to give up his obsession on that. And that's when you start to realise there's something very off about the MO, Jigsaw's MO. It started out, we had, you know, the movie one was, you know, about appreciating life and learning to just learning to appreciate it more and stuff, and not destroy yourself and stuff like that. And then it progressed, and I said it did feel off in number 2 and number 3. Well, number 2 it was off because it was criminals, and then number 3 it was just like, it felt like it'd come back a little bit, but I didn't get the point of targeting this doctor just because she'd been sleeping around and stuff like that, especially just because she was in mourning of her dead son. And now, arguably, that's because that was Amanda's test, but I did have an issue at the end of the last movie where Jigsaw's all like, I despise, you know, murderers and stuff, and yet he willingly, like, that Jeff's daughter was locked up, and it was like, his thing to Jeff at the end was, I'm the only one who knows that if you kill me, then you've killed your daughter. And you're like, seriously? He's going to let that little girl die just to prove a point? And Jeff ends up getting shot at the end of this movie anyway. So we still never find out what happened to the little girl. Now, I don't know if it's in number 5 or what. But yeah, that felt really, really off. But this movie starts out with the body of Jigsaw being quite gratuitously autopsied, like taken apart. All his organs are taken out. And his stomach is taken out, and they find a tape which gets passed to Costas Mandylor's Hoffman, and he's listening to the tape. It's like, do you think you got away with this, that and the other? You're not the only, you're not going to get through this untested. And now, as somebody who knew that Hoffman was evil from previous watching of this, I knew what. But I knew that was what he was getting at, that, you know, you are going to get tested, buddy. Don't think you're getting away with this. But yeah, it just felt, because they don't reveal obviously Hoffman's involvement until the end, after this whole thing of keep going back to like him, Donnie Wahlberg's, Matthews, and Luis Ferreira's Art Blank, was it, or something? Who is a lawyer. He's a bit of a scumbag, basically. They're in this room, and yeah, basically, Lyric Bentz, you know, is hunting these, is trying to find Matthews, and he's being led by all these different clues, breadcrumbs left by Jigsaw and that, which you then found out actually it was Hoffman who did all this and stuff. And it just gets so you're following that and you're like, this is the main story. But no, you're then following the FBI agents, and one of the FBI agents gets killed. Like, so, I'm sorry, this movie is just, so you're following the FBI agents who are trying to chase down Rig, who is trying to find Matthews, while going through his own kind of watching these other random strangers go through tests. And I don't like, so this poor woman, this domestic violence victim, she's tortured to make sure she kills her abusive husband. It's like, oh, you know, he's put you through all this, you know, you'll heal, but, you know, he should suffer. And I'm like, whoa, that's a little excessive. I mean, again, I'm not, but this is why I don't get how Jigsaw made all these tapes. Regardless of whether it's Amanda or Hoffman or whoever the other, you know, that we will find out, other apprentices, Jigsaw still made these tapes, as I said last time. Unless they're all doing their best Tobin Bell impersonations, how has all this been prepared? So with all that, you're like following that and you're like, okay, we're going between the two lots and stuff. No. We gotta throw some more stuff in. We then get all this shtick about Jigsaw's ex-wife, that she worked at this rehabilitation clinic or whatever for drug addicts. And on one night when somebody was trying to break into the clinic, he slammed open the door and crushed her pregnant belly, and as a result she miscarried 7 months in, and she and John, you know, were in mourning and stuff, and apparently that was the catalyst. That, you know what, no matter what we've been told. So in number one, it was that John had cancer. In number two, it was, no, sorry, last time. It's because two was such an odd one out. In number three, he drove himself to suicide and drove off a cliff, but somehow he still survived. So all of a sudden now his pool of attack is people, you know, to show that they've got survival of the fittest and stuff. But in this movie, oh no, we've got to add you know, to give excuse for the criminals and all that stuff that get captured. We've now got to have about this drug addict, and apparently that's the thing to then make him go, you can't help them, they have to help themselves. And then they're like, they didn't retcon it, because then his ex-wife is like, he had that, and then he had the cancer, and he tried to kill himself and that. And you're like, okay, but you're just trying to give excuses for more and more people to, like, it's like they ran out of ideas of who else to attack. And, you know, it makes more sense for the different MOs, because when you're dealing with different apprentices, that they have their different people that they want to attack. But when you're just adding these extra things to Jigsaw's MO, it's just like, that doesn't make sense. So yeah, it just that frustrates. So that's because then this FBI agent is questioning Jill, Jigsaw's ex, because of course it had to be John and Jill. So she's getting interrogated because they're like, oh, you're an accomplice, this, that, and it, you helped him. And it's going on so long. And this went on so long with her interrogation, and then the flashback to what happened with her. I kind of completely forgot that Matthews and Hoffman and blank were in this other room completely. We didn't see them for ages. And it turns out that bloody Hoffman is evil anyway, so the only real risk was Matthews, who was tortured like crazy. That poor man, he was put through what happened in number 2. He didn't know what happened for his son. He then escaped at the start of number 3 from the bathroom, but was then captured by Amanda again and tortured. And Jigsaw says at one point in the last movie, oh, you know, I had to clean up your mess and stuff like that. But it turns out he was just put in a cell again, and then he's put on this block of ice, and then he gets his head smushed. And you're like, that poor man, what did he do wrong besides maybe not be the greatest of dads? It's almost comical. So, yeah, and the whole stuff with Rig, I was just like, okay, it felt really, the conclusion felt really like the whole lesson for him, and then he's just laying there at the end. I assume he's going to bleed to death or whatever. As somebody who'd been in, like, the last 2 movies, it felt like his story was just like, bleh. And it was interesting. I was engaged. The acting is good. There wasn't as much unnecessary screaming as last times. Yeah, this just felt like it had a lot of stuff. Like I say, the gratuitous, unnecessary autopsy scene that went on for ages at the beginning and took up way too long. And then you've got this whole thing with the ex-wife, which again, I don't know if they're just trying to add depth to Jigsaw, but at this point, he's died. Which, actually, I met Tobin Bell at a convention. Really nice guy. But I spoke to him, and at the time, I think there were rumours about the new movie Jigsaw. And I was like, oh, is it true it's happening? And he's like, oh, yeah, well, for those of us that are, you know, still alive. And I was like, but dude, you died in, like, number 3, and yet somehow you're still in the rest of the movies. So don't come be saying that. So, yeah, I just feel like this movie is quite... It's got a lot of... It needs a lot of fat trimmed from it. And like I say, I don't know how they managed to pack it all into an hour and a half. But somehow they do. Because there were scenes here that just felt like they went on forever. It's got a lot of interesting stuff in it. I did like quite a bit of it. But I don't care much for Hoffman. Amanda's gone. Jigsaw's gone. And they've tried to add this depth to his character post-death. And you're just like... You're just looking for extra reasons to have these extra pockets of people to attack. And that's not necessary. You don't need to give more backstory to this character. He had reason enough. I mean, not reason. He should have done he was still wrong in what he did. But I'm just saying, you know, you had an impetus there. And you're trying to build or build or shift or whatever that reason. And it's needless. So, yeah, there's just a lot of needless stuff here. I like it, but I certainly don't like it as much as 3. I don't even think I like it as much as 2. I don't know. I felt like more attention was paid to the characters in this than were in number 2. So I guess I prefer it more. It's a bit of an odd one. It's a very mixed... I have very mixed feelings about it. I think it's very middle of the road. This is an odd one. I feel really mixed about this one. Like, the people that are thrown in to, like, show off to Rig, they are just there for the games, for the torture porn and the, you know, the gore. And at that point you're like, and Rig doesn't really say that much, so you never really feel much for his depth of character or that. He felt really, really underdeveloped. I think it's okay. I don't think it's the worst. It's certainly not the worst movie. Certainly not the worst horror movie. I do think it's the weaker of the 4 movies. that we've had so far generally, just in interesting action and stuff. But it did try better than number 2 with its characters. But yeah, definitely not as good as 1 or 3. This is going to be like the opposite of Star Trek, you know, like the even number movies are the only decent ones. This is going to be only the odd number ones are the decent ones. Oh wait, I forgot. I've heard that the final chapter isn't very good, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah, I mean, check it out. You're not missing much if you don't watch it. You're not even really getting much closure for the previous movies. But that was 2007's Saw 4. Yeah, sorry I've been all over the place. I'm a little tired. I think I'm coming down with a cold. But yeah, that was that. Thank you so much for watching. Please share your thoughts on your favourite movie. Please share your thoughts on what your favourite Halloween movie is. That would be good. But I will be back tomorrow with Saw 5. I don't remember if that's the one, because I thought this had the pendulum, but it didn't. It was the ice block. So if next one has a pendulum in it, then I've seen it once, but I don't remember. So we'll see what happens. I think I've seen it, but I could be wrong. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But for now, guys, please take care, stay safe, and I'll see you somewhere down the line. Sorry, I really am tired. Take care, guys.